It is Shula Bowl week, and we are ready for it here on the Florida Atlantic Voice, presented by Robes Law Group, ROBES, robeslawgroup.com, presenting partner of the Florida Atlantic Voice. And it is awesome to talk with you, not only from Biergarten in Boca Raton. And you see, I have my gigantic pretzel. I've got the cheese. I've got the mustard. That's right. I'm beered up as well. I mean, it's German. There's a lot of beer here at Biergarten in Boca Raton. Shula Bowl week, FAU, FIU. Florida Atlantic has had the Shula Bowl trophy in Boca Raton since 2017. I mean, this is a trophy that has not only taken up residence in Boca, first the Ox, then the Schmidt Family Center. This thing has paid off its residents. This thing is entering retirement, Social Security age, just raking in riches and living comfortably in the Schmidt Family Center. FAU, FIU. It is Saturday, 6 o'clock. I'll have the call for you. 5:30 is the pregame on the Florida Atlantic Sports Network. We have a lot to do here tonight, including give away some hardware, our positional awards coming off of the win over Florida A&M. That was, well, a drubbing, 56-14 the final. And I said it yesterday on our day after, and I'm going to say it again. You didn't want drama coming out of the loss to Maryland. You wanted to make sure that this was going to be a tune-up for FIU. And that's why when I get the, oh, Ken, I don't feel so excited because it was just FAMU, I say, well, one, maybe you should live your life a little more optimistically, okay? And then two, FAU took care of business. This was always going to be a take care of business game. You did not want this to be like Carl Pelini beating Wagner 7-3 back in 2012. You did not want this to be Charlie Partridge and FAU struggling with Southern Illinois in the home opener, 38-30 back in 2015, and it was far from it. FAU was able to get right offensively. FAU was able to get the job done defensively, and were there some rough spots in the third quarter? Absolutely, but FAU was able to get itself in a position to win and win comfortably and have no drama. And it felt good to get that win. And congratulations to Haggerty family head coach Shaq Kitley on his first career win. We're going to talk about all-time great Shula Bowl moments. We're going to get your suggestions that were sent by social media earlier today. And we are going to preview the Shula Bowl with some things you need to look out for when FAU heads to West Miami to take on Florida International Willie Simmons in his first year as the head man down there. Don't forget to jump in the chat. Feel free to jump in the chat. Maybe you are stuck in traffic and you shouldn't be moving if you're going to jump in the chat. But if you got YouTube cranked up or Twitter cranked up, by the way, at KLV Says on Twitter. If you want to watch this on X, feel free to jump in the chat. Maybe you're at home. Maybe you're just trying to get an FAU fix here and still reveling in the victory over FAMU. I'm here for you here. Florida Atlantic Voice from Biergarten in Boca Raton, right off Federal, Boca's premier soccer bar, Inter Miami, Bayern Munich, always on the TVs at Biergarten. Oktoberfest is on the way. It's less than a month away. October 4th, the annual Porsche Car Show at Biergarten in Boca Raton. October 11th is going to be Beer Fest 2025. I have been at the Beer Fest celebration at Biergarten. It's intense. And it's awesome. Samplings from German and local breweries. Both events start right at noon, and they go late into the evening. NFL Sundays, happy hour all day, $1 wings, Dolphins game volume always on. Maybe you keep the volume on the way yesterday went. You just turn the picture off. But Biergarten, it's the place to be. Monday Night Football tonight here at Biergarten as well. And so we are going to be with you throughout the evening. All right. So let's get ourselves into the hardware, the awards. We did it last week, and I had a recommendation. I had a recommendation presented to me about how we should end up handing out these awards. And Rich reached out to me, and he said, Ken, why is there a quarterback award? Because it's going to be Caden Veldkamp every single week. That's not going to change. And I told Rich, you know what? You're right. That was not very well thought out on my part. So what we're going to switch this to, what we are going to alter this to, and you can tell I put a lot of thought into this. You can tell that this went through a committee. This was really workshopped. We're going to have the Behind the Line Award. Quarterback and the tailbacks. This is going to be a combined award. It'll go to one of the players that starts the offensive play behind the line. How about that? So I could have workshopped this a little bit better. I probably could have come up with something more creative, and maybe I'll do that down the road. But it's on the nose because I want you to know exactly what it is right off the bat, okay? So this week, the Jared Allen, Doug Brown Behind the Line Award. You know who it's going to. Caden Veldkamp, who got right after his 4-interception performance against Maryland in the season opener there in College Park against FAMU. He was comfortable right away. He was aggressive right away, and he reaped the benefits of it. 27 of 39, 309 yards, 5 touchdowns for Caden Veldkamp. That ties an FAU program record for most touchdown throws in a single game. So Caden Veldkamp, it's not just that he put up big numbers. It's not just that he was efficient and he was dynamic. He also spread the ball around as well. Think about it. Easton Messer went from 15 catches in the season opener. 15 catches in the season opener to just 4. Think about that. That is a really, really positive sign that Caden Veldkamp isn't just glued to his best friend, isn't just glued to his counterpart that came with him from Western Kentucky. I think that is an exceptional sign that now it does appear as if there is a connection between these guys, and it extends past Messer. I mean, look at some of these numbers. Jay-Sean Platt, 5 catches, 56 and a touchdown. Asad Wasim, 4 receptions, 2 touchdowns, 55 yards. Dom Henry, 3 receptions, 37 and 2 scores. Xavier Terrell had 3 catches. Jamari Sands out of the backfield got involved with 5. So Caden Veldkamp was spreading it around. He was being generous. And so I just thought that it was really, really encouraging to see that from Caden Veldkamp. So it's not just the gaudy numbers. It's the fact that he trusted receivers other than Easton Messer. Now, I want to bring something up that's probably unpopular. I haven't gotten an explanation for this yet, and I'm curious if this is eventually going to change. And I want Caden Veldkamp desperately to tie the school record for touchdown passes in a single game. But Asad Wasim, his second touchdown, based on official football scoring, where Wasim fumbled inside the 5 and then fell on the ball in the end zone, and that was confirmed. Sorry, the proper college football vernacular in 2025 is upheld. He was ruled to have fallen on the ball in the end zone for a touchdown. That should not be a touchdown pass for Caden Veldkamp. He gets the yardage out of it. Now, that was a 39-yard play. It probably should be more like 35 yards. And then Wasim, Yes, he gets his touchdown, but it's a fumble recovery for a touchdown. It does not count or should not count as a touchdown pass. So I wonder if as we go into next week, that's going to be altered. For now, Caden Veldkamp has tied the all-time record single game touchdown passes, but it might be changed. I don't want to be the reason it's changed, but I do think that you, the FAU fan, deserve the most accurate portrayal of what happens in a game. Toby's in the chat. Best week of the season. Best week of the season. I agree. It's the best week of the season, especially seeing that there's a real chance that FIU is better than they have been in past years. Whether you're talking about Ron Turner, whether you're talking about Butch Davis, whether you're talking about Mike McIntyre, it does seem like under Willie Simmons, FIU is showing a pulse. It's good for this rivalry, but it really hasn't been a rivalry because, well, Florida Atlantic has won every single edition of this game since 2017. But it is fun to get up for a trophy game. It's always fun to play for a trophy, and boy, is it fun to rip that FIU helmet off the side of the trophy at the end of the game and hold it triumphantly in the air. Now, you know what else would be the best week of the season? FAU preparing for the American Conference Championship game. FAU preparing for a bowl game, and I know that is well down the road. We'll see if FAU can hang around in the American Conference race. It's a pretty treacherous conference schedule, but yeah, this is the best week of the season, and kudos to all involved, FAU, FIU, once Florida Atlantic moved to the American Conference, getting FIU back on the schedule, or if you're FIU, getting FAU back on the schedule and making sure that this is played every single year. Thanks for jumping in the chat, Toby. Continue to roll through the chat here on this Monday night. And remember, every Monday night, 6 o'clock, we're live, Florida Atlantic Voice, but come hang out with me. Your first beer is on me. That is a Ken LaVicka guarantee. If you come out to Biergarten in Boca Raton, 6 p.m., every single Monday, Florida Atlantic Voice Monday Night Live, as we give out awards to the individual positions after the game the prior weekend. All right, so we've got Caden Veldkamp, who has earned our Jared Allen, Doug Brown Behind the Line Award. Now to the Jason Harmon Tight End Award. That's right, Jason Harmon getting some love tonight. The Jason Harmon Tight End Award. And we're not going to give it out this week. Michael Kirch, Martavius Collins, neither made a catch. Both did their job blocking against FAMU, but not enough separation between the two to actually give out the award this week. So the Jason Harmon Tight End Award will go unclaimed, and because of that, Jason Harmon will return next week as our title name of the Tight End Award here on the Florida Atlantic Voice. So let's move on, and we move from tight end to offensive line. The Reggie Bain Offensive Lineman Award. Reggie Bain, we appreciate you, all your contributions, your Conference USA championships, and your superb play as a left tackle. Reggie Bain Offensive Lineman Award, and for the second straight week, congratulations to Scarlett Jean. Left guard, huge PFF grade. Robbie Lastella of New Era Prep was breaking it down yesterday on the day after here on the Florida Atlantic Voice. As he pointed out, Scarlett Jean has allowed one pressure in 45 snaps against FAMU. And for the season to this point, Scarlett Jean has allowed 2 pressures total. One against Maryland, one against FAMU. That's 115 snaps played. And Scarlett Jean has allowed only 2 pressures. He has been rock solid. Him and Jakevian Nonar, left tackle, and Nonar had to leave the game for a bit in the second half on Saturday against FAMU. Became right back in. But all things considered, the left side of the offensive line, Nonar, Jean, and Fia Cable, the center, it's been a good start to the season for those 3 especially. And then I also thought Alex Atcavage and Daughtry Richardson on the right side were pretty solid against FAMU. But Scarlett Jean has been a rock, an anchor for Florida Atlantic along that offensive front. 2 games played, 2 offensive lineman awards for Scarlett Jean. And this week it's the Reggie Bain Offensive Lineman Award. We go from the big man on the offensive line. How about some skill position now? And it's the Anthony Christinger-Hill Wide Receiver Award. The Anthony Christinger-Hill Wide Receiver Award goes to, and this was tough because there were a lot of good performances with the pass catchers out on the edges. But because of his scoring and because of his degree of difficulty with his touchdown receptions, Dominique Henry gets the Anthony Christinger-Hill Wide Receiver Award. Dom, 3 receptions, 37 yards, 2 touchdowns in this game. He caught the first touchdown pass from Caden Veldkamp in this game very early in the first quarter. A perfectly weighted ball, high and fluttering into the near left corner of the end zone. And Dom Henry did a phenomenal job of adjusting his body. The corner did not turn around, and that ball was nestled right into the chest of Dom Henry before he hit the ground. That's a beautiful pirouette. That's an outstanding job of tracking the football, and Dom Henry, his first touchdown. But then there was his second touchdown catch, and this was absolutely ridiculous, absolutely absurd. Caden Veldkamp with a sidearm, almost Dennis Eckersley-esque for those of you that are, well, in their 40s or 50s like me. For those of you in your 20s that are watching or listening a couple of days here when I put it out in full as the audio portion of the podcast, Dennis Eckersley, all-time great closer for the Oakland A's, okay? I just want to make sure that you're caught up, and you should know that baseball history. But Caden Veldkamp sidearms hit, a missile into the back of the end zone. Dom Henry with a defender fronting him, all in his chest. Henry reaches out his left hand, gloves the football. It sticks to his left hand. He pulls it into his chest, gets a foot down while he's falling out of bounds. I mean, that's 10 out of 10 degree of difficulty. That's Winter Olympics, getting a whole lot of credit from the judges for your triple Lutz, triple axel into something spinning. I don't know the name of that. But Dom Henry, that was extremely impressive. And so he gets the Anthony Christinger-Hill Wide Receiver Award here for week number 2. Now, time for the D-line. It is time to honor the big man up front, the Trayvon Coley Defensive Lineman Award. And this is going to be awarded to Wilkie Denaud, the first sack of the season for Florida Atlantic in the first quarter. He finished the game against Florida A&M, 4 tackles, 2 solo. And Wilkie Denaud has found a home finally in college football. He's a Treasure Coast native. He went to Auburn, didn't play a snap, transferred to Mississippi State. That wasn't for him. He left after the spring. Rock Bellantoni, former FAU defensive coordinator, was able to talk Wilkie into coming home, coming back to his roots, playing for Florida Atlantic. And Wilkie's just had to settle in and calm his mind and focus on football and prioritizing football, and boy, has he. He had a really good fall. He showed out, and now it's starting to translate to the field. Had the sack, had the tackles, and Wilkie Denaud is honored with the Trayvon Coley Defensive Lineman Award for week number 2. Let's head now to the linebackers. Michael Lockley Linebacker Award, not to be mistaken with the Michael Locksley of Maryland, their head football coach. The Michael Lockley Linebacker Award. Again, Michael Lockley, the most famous play of his career was blocking the potential chip shot game-winning field goal, not the potential, what would have been the game-winning field goal to start the 2010 season at UAB in an absolute classic that saw Alfred Morris and Lester Jean as heroes on offense for Florida Atlantic, and Lockley, who holds the all-time record for block kicks in FAU history. He got his right hand in the air. He tipped the field goal attempt, in FAU left Birmingham with a victory over UAB. I digress. The Michael Lockley Linebacker Award, Tyler Stolsky, the captain, the clubbed captain, 5 tackles, 4 solo, and it's clear he is the one calling the shots defensively. He's flying all over the field. He's going sideline to sideline. He's pursuing the football, and all of it injured. He's got that huge club on his hand, and I was saying on the official FAU broadcast on Saturday that it looks like And I was mentioning it yesterday to Robbie Lastella on the day after. It looks like that club is getting larger and larger every single week. It's almost as if he's not taking it off during the course of the week, and he's simply just putting more layers of tape on it. Mike Marejko, our pre-halftime and post-game host on the official broadcast, said that he looks like Mega Man right now with that club, and he's swinging it and he's tackling with it, and it's a cool look. I think once he's healed, he should just continue to wear that club, in my opinion. So Tyler Stolsky, who came in with a lot of expectations from Minnesota, needed this leadership, did Tyler Stolsky, and so credit to him. He has been a force here for Florida Atlantic, and he continues on as an award winner here in week number 2. Secondary, we're talking corners, we're talking safeties, we're talking nickel. Keith Reeser Secondary Award. The Keith Reeser Secondary Award, and we're going to give it to Wendell Fullord, an award for Wendell Fullord. In his final year of college football, 2 pass breakups against FAMU, and man, was he active. You saw number 0 all over the place in the Florida Atlantic secondary, giving the Rattlers fits. Should have had the first FAU turnover forced early in this one. He had it in his chest. He had beaten the receiver to the football, couldn't bring it in, but he is playing like a captain. He has been a leader, and there's a reason that he is a captain. There is a reason that he is playing as many snaps as he has so far. 1, FAU needs him on the field, and 2, he's really, really sticky. He is really, really superior, and so Wendell Fullord gets honored with the Keith Reeser Secondary Award here on the Florida Atlantic Voice. It is Monday Night Live, Florida Atlantic Voice, live from Biergarten in Boca Raton. We are presented by Robes Law Group, personal injury lawyers located in Delray Beach, serving you for many, many years. Your personal injury matters, Palm Beach County and surrounding areas. Make sure that if you have a personal injury situation, it's Robes Law Group, ROBES, robeslawgroup.com, ROBES, robeslawgroup.com. The chat is open for you here. Biergarten and Boca Raton, Oktoberfest on the way, October 4th, the Porsche Car Show, October 11th, Beer Fest 2025. It is the best party in Boca, the best Oktoberfest party in Boca Raton. Boy, next summer, the World Cup, this place is going to be jam-packed, especially for those Germany games. And so you're not going to want to miss it. But if in the meantime, NFL, college football, Monday Night Football tonight here at Biergarten in Boca Raton. We are live here at Biergarten, as evidenced by the gigantic pretzel that is sitting just to my left. All right, let's get back to some awards here. We're getting near the end of our awards. In fact, we are at our final award, the Kareth White Special Teams Award. Of course, Kareth White, the first kickoff return touchdown in FAU history, the Seminole Ridge product, the local, spent some time in the NFL. Kareth White Special Teams Award. This one was really arduous to try and come up because there were a lot of nominees and a lot of candidates for this because, man, Tyler Skuvenek's group was superior on special teams, but we're going to give it to Josh Roberts, the true freshman, someone who, by the way, has excelled along the defensive front for Florida Atlantic as well, but a true freshman, Josh Roberts. He's seen significant time on the field, and there's a reason why. He does a lot the right way, and he made what could end up being the play of the year on special teams. Blocked the punt in the first quarter, right through the line, just bulldozed the punt protection, textbook hand placement. The ball goes straight backwards. Lawrence Johnson falls on it for a touchdown. And let's add to what I was talking about. Josh Roberts, 3 quarterback pressures in 21 pass rushing attempts as well. in 21 pass rushing situations, and he had 3 pressures. That's courtesy of Robbie Lastella, and we appreciate him. Numbers guy here on the Florida Atlantic Voice. So Josh Roberts is getting it done very early on in his college football career, and he is, Josh Roberts, the Kareth White Special Teams Award. So let's recap our awards real quick here after the FAMU victory. The Jared Allen, Doug Brown Behind the Line Award, quarterback Caden Veltkamp, 27-39, 309, 5 touchdowns, though we think it'll probably be changed to 4 touchdowns because Assad Wasim fumbled the ball and recovered it in the end zone. The Jason Harmon Tight End Award, we're not going to give it out tonight. The Reggie Bain Offensive Lineman Award for the second straight week, Scarlett Jean left guard. According to Pro Football Focus, 1 pressure allowed, 45 snaps, passing snaps, and allowed only 2 pressures on the season to this point, 115 snaps so far this year. Anthony Christinger Hill Wide Receiver Award to Dominique Henry, 3 of 37, 2 touchdowns. The Trayvon Coley Defensive Lineman Award, Wilkie Donat, who had the first sack of the season for FAU. The Michael Lockley Linebacker Award goes to captain of the linebacker group, captain on the team, 1 of 7, Tyler Stolsky, his 5 tackles and his 4 solo. Keith Reeser Secondary Award, Wendell Fullord, and his 2 pass breakups. And the Kareth White Special Teams Award, Josh Roberts, congratulations. True freshman, and blocked the punt that resulted in a touchdown for FAU in the first quarter against Florida A&M. So those are your awards post Florida A&M. We're going to get to a preview of Florida International. We are going to get to our recollections, our best memories of the Shula Bowl. But I wanted to point this out, and Robbie Lastella noted this on Twitter earlier today. Florida Atlantic, its home opener attendance, 21,029. The student attendance was awesome, and we noted yesterday on the day after, the atmosphere in the stadium was energetic and drunken. And again, we reiterate that as long as it doesn't get out of control, it doesn't get unruly, and you find a way safely home, the Florida Atlantic Voice condones drunken fan energy at home FAU football games. The 21,029 in attendance for FAU, that's the best coaching debut, or the second best coaching debut attendance home opener in FAU history. The second best coaching debut home opener in FAU history goes to Zach Kitley, 21,029. I think you could probably guess what the largest home opener was, which coach had that. It was Lane Kiffin, the opener against Navy, where it was a near sellout, 28,461. Now, because of that heinous weather delay in the fourth quarter with the game out of hand, certainly not that many fans in the stadium at the end of that one. But, 28,461 for Navy. That's the benchmark for a head coaching debut home opener at FAU Stadium. Florida Atlantic Voice presented by Robes Law Group, personal injury lawyers, robeslawgroup.com, ROBES, robeslawgroup.com. We're at Biergarten in Boca Raton, as we are every single Monday night here at Florida Atlantic Voice. Continue to jump in the chat here on this Monday night as well. So I asked you earlier today for your favorite Shula Bowl moments. The top Shula Bowl moments for you in your time as a Florida Atlantic fan. Now, obviously, some of you go back to the very beginning. Some of you track back to 2001. This was the Shula Bowl trophy created by Howard Schnellenberger and Don Strock, who was the man who started the FIU program. And it was more Howard Schnellenberger saying, we need to play for a trophy. Don, what do you think? And Don Strock, as nobody says no to Howard Schnellenberger, said, yeah, sure. And they reached out to Don Shula. They didn't hear back from him right away. So Howard Schnellenberger just slapped Don Shula's name on the trophy and then just told Don Shula after the fact. And then Don Shula did attend some of these Shula Bowls and actually handed out the trophy. Various members of the Shula family then in subsequent years would come and hand out the Shula Bowl trophy. Dan Shula was a coach for a couple of seasons at Florida Atlantic, so rich tradition between the Shula family and Florida Atlantic. But I asked you for your best FAU memories, your favorite Shula Bowl moments. And Jack Whitten chimes in with BTA every year. Now, if you're not sure about what BTA means, BTA is belt to, well, you know, we're family friendly, but belt to a word, BTA every year, and that's the case. FAU has won every single Shula Bowl by at least three scores since 2017. At least three scores FAU has won the Shula Bowl by every year that it's been played since 2017. Logan chips in with, my favorite Shula Bowl moment is going to be when we win it this Saturday. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, and I know it's easy to because, well, Florida Atlantic has just smacked FIU around over and over and over again. Doesn't matter if it's in Boca, doesn't matter if it's in West Miami, and I want to, and I point this out all the time, but I want to be sure because you're going to show up to Pit Bull Stadium tomorrow, or Saturday, I should say, and you're going to see all of this homage to South Beach and Miami-Dade County and Florida International claiming South Beach and Miami-Dade County. And yes, they're located in Miami-Dade County, but FIU is nowhere near South Beach. FIU is nowhere near South Beach. On a weekday with all the traffic, it's probably like a 45 to 50-minute drive with traffic. So that stuff, that's not South Beach, okay? It's more like Miami International Airport we're going to for FIU. This game is being hosted at Miami International Airport. It's like a 10-minute walk to the airport and a 10-minute walk to the Everglades when you're at FIU. So don't get ahead of yourself, though. And I don't know if you saw this, but Florida Atlantic, the first time in a long time, is an underdog in this game. The initial betting line, if you're in to that sort of thing, is FIU minus 2.5. I don't know if I agree with that. Vegas has been very wrong before setting a line for FAU, but FIU getting the benefit of the doubt, minus 2.5 because they played within 10 points of Penn State at halftime on Saturday. Jordan chimes in, favorite Shula Bowl moment. And I'm not surprised. I got multiples of these. 2008 Shula Bowl, which is without question the wildest Shula Bowl of all time. Florida Atlantic 57, Florida International 50 in overtime. This was the game where FAU trailed by 14 points with 3:09 left to go. FAU was down 14 with 3:09 left at Dolphin Stadium. It looked like FIU was going to win this game going away. In fact, the play-by-play voice of Florida International at the time, Jeremy Marks Peltz, declared that FIU was going to win the football game. And then everything changed. 3:09 left to go. Rusty Smith gets the football. Florida Atlantic starts, though, at its own 10-yard line. And Rusty Smith proceeds to march FAU down the field. The big pass play that started it all was Rusty Smith to Chris Bonner, 50-yard completion to the FIU 45-yard line, then a 14-yard completion to Jamari Grant, and then Chris Bonner again for 23 yards, and then Rusty Smith finds Cortez Gent for an 8-yard touchdown. The extra point is good, and suddenly FAU is within 50-43. With a minute 50 left to go after Florida Atlantic is able to fall on the onside kick. Ross Gornall chopped it into the turf. FAU falls on it. Florida Atlantic then gets the ball back at the FIU 49-yard line with a minute 17 left to go. Florida Atlantic loses 3, fumbles, but somehow falls on the ball. And then Rusty Smith shakes that off, finds Jamari Grant for 9 yards, an incompletion to Chris Bonner, but there was a penalty on FIU. The subsequent play, Rusty to Dilbury Edgecombe, 19 yards. Edgecombe a 1-yard rush. Then Rusty Smith, with 18 seconds left to go, finds Jamari Grant for an 11-yard score. And then Florida Atlantic in overtime would end up winning the game 57-50. That is without question the greatest Shula Bowl ever played, the wildest Shula Bowl ever played. And there's a famous picture from this one where the game tying interception with 17 seconds left, actually at the buzzer. This was late. This was at the buzzer. The 11-yard touchdown pass to Chris Bonner. Bonner catches the ball in the near right corner of the end zone, and he proceeds to hug the official. Has the official, the side judge, in a bear hug after FAU pulled it within 50-49 on the final play of regulation. Just Google FIU 2008. Go to images. You'll see it. It's there. Just a full-on bear hug by Chris Bonner. And or Jamari Grant, I should say. The Bonner touchdown was in overtime. Jamari Grant with that reception to tie the game. That is the best Shula Bowl ever played. Favorite Shula Bowl moments. We move on from the 2008 edition and Forever FAU. This upcoming week will be my favorite Shula Bowl when we win by 20 plus when we're listed as underdogs. Again, don't get ahead of yourself. All right. Do we think FAU is going to win? Sure. Should we be confident that FAU is going to win? Sure. But let's not just throw out there 3-score win again. And I know it's easy to settle into that because it's happened at every Shula Bowl since 2017. But just don't freak out, okay? And don't start these broad proclamations. All right, just calm down. It's a better FIU team, we think. Aaron in the chat. We need to make Pitbull Stadium into Flagler Credit Union Stadium South. Pitbull Stadium into Flagler Credit Union Stadium South. That is 100% correct. And that'll give me the opportunity once again to pontificate for a second. Every single year for the last 15 years, Florida Atlantic fans have vastly, without question, noticeably, not only all the red in the stands, but from a noise factor as well, have outnumbered FIU fans. And it hasn't been by a couple. It hasn't been just over half to 48% FAU to FIU fans. It has been, for people in the stands, it's been more 70-30. It's been 80-20. It's been an FAU home game at Miami International Airport. We need to continue that as the same type of atmosphere for this Shula Bowl, okay? So get your tickets. And I've got it on my Twitter account. Get your tickets. I have the link to the FIU ticket office. Buy up your tickets. Get down there and get in to Pitbull Stadium, or as Aaron put it, Flagler Credit Union Stadium South. And make sure it's Flagler Credit Union Stadium South. And let's get another trophy and bring it home again. And so, again, FAU Shula Bowl moments. Just a little bit of context as well, just a little bit of background. It was 2014 when the helmet rip off the trophy happened for the very first time, and that was FIU that did it down in West Miami. FIU did it first. Then the very next season, Florida Atlantic, after winning in Boca in 2015, returned the favor. And actually, I'm sorry, I had that backwards. 2015 is when Florida Atlantic. 2015 is when Florida Atlantic ripped it off the first time. 2016, FIU ripped the trophy off when they had a much better fourth quarter and beat Florida Atlantic. And then that has been a tradition ever since. Rip the trophy, rip the helmet off the side of the trophy every single solitary year. All right, so let's go ahead and get in to the Shula Bowl and what's taking place Saturday, 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock kickoff, Pitbull Stadium. Myself, Mike Mareshko, and Chris Newbold on the call. Mareshko has your pregame show at 5:30. Chris Newbold and I, 6 o'clock from Pitbull Stadium. Last week, FIU lost to Penn State 34-0, but that score probably doesn't tell the full story of the game. FIU played within 10 points. It was 10-0 at halftime over a team that is a favorite to win the national championship, a team that is the favorite to win the Big Ten, But FIU, very, very stubborn, especially defensively in this game. A 10-0 deficit. They only faced a 10-0 deficit at halftime. It was absolutely impressive what FIU was able to do. Admittedly, it was impressive what they were able to do. Keon Jenkins, the quarterback in this game, 15 of 28, 127, and an interception. He did that in the second half, and it was very costly. He threw an interception in Penn State territory on a screen pass. He had a solid game, Keon Jenkins did, but that interception was really deflating, and FIU was unable to really fight back from that as Penn State started to take control of the trenches, ran over FIU in the second half. Keon Jenkins, Willie Simmons' priority when he took over as the head coach at FIU was to try and retain Keon Jenkins. All signs pointed to him going into the transfer portal. He's a very talented quarterback. He's got a good arm. He's got a big arm. He's dynamic. He can be electric. And the consensus was there was no way, absolutely no way he was staying at FIU. But he did stay at FIU. Willie Simmons said, hey, come on, be my quarterback. Willie Simmons is persuasive. Willie Simmons is a very good coach. Willie Simmons is someone that players believe in. And Willie Simmons said, Keon Jenkins, come on, come back. And that's exactly what Keon Jenkins did. That's a steal for Willie Simmons. That was a big offseason win for him and for that football team. Now, Keon Jenkins has yet to throw a touchdown pass this season. The Miami Central product, when it was FIU rolling to a season-opening win over Bethune-Cookman, every single one of their touchdowns was a rushing touchdown. Every single one of their touchdowns was on the ground. So Jenkins has not found the end zone yet, but if you recall, it only took Keon Jenkins 3 plays last year to give FIU the lead in the Shula Bowl with a touchdown pass. Keon Jenkins was able to hit a deep ball, and FIU took the lead in that eventual Florida Atlantic win, 38-20, another 3-score win for FAU. So Jenkins, no touchdown passes yet this season. He's very quick on his feet. He's got great mobility. He is an athlete, but he's not a huge rushing threat. And a lot of that is because, well, he wants to sit in the pocket. He wants to sling it. He's got the arm strength to do so. He's got the accuracy most of the time to do so. And so he's really a quarterback who can get the job done with his arm. Again, he does not want to be a rushing threat. He wants to be a true pocket passer, which is what he played in high school, and that's translated to the college level. In the backfield, Kajon Owens, preseason All-Conference USA, on the ground, 71 yards against Bethune-Cookman in the opener. He added 78 at Penn State. Kajon Owens is going to be the focal point in the backfield for FIU. That FIU defense, this is the bread and butter so far, and this is what it looks like for FIU. Everything's going to be predicated upon this year, and that is the defense, and specifically the defensive line. FIU got to Drew Aller, who is a consensus right now top 10 pick in the NFL draft. Got to Drew Aller twice in that game against Penn State. Kenton's and listen to the size of the defensive front for FIU. This is one of the biggest defensive lines in all of Conference USA. Ken Simmons, 260 pounds. Quaylen Hill, 320 along that defensive line. Ola Ogunloye at 315. He's a Marshall transfer. Defensive end Keegan Davis at 250. A Treasure Coast product. So 260, 320, 315, 250. That's your starting front four, tops of the depth chart for Florida International. That is a big Conference USA front line for FIU. So the Florida Atlantic offensive line is going to have its work cut out for it. This was a good point brought up in the broadcaster group chat throughout the course of the day. You'll wonder, Penn State's offense is slow as snail, all right? Florida Atlantic running tempo. You'll wonder if that front line is going to be able to keep up with the Florida Atlantic tempo. If FAU can get in a groove and Veldkamp can start picking out receivers and FAU can get itself into a spot where FIU is a little bit on the back foot, that's going to matter. FAU's tempo it'll be FAU's tempo against FIU and its strong, large defensive front. That is going to be a major key to this football game on Saturday. Another thing to look at, another aspect to pay attention to, time of possession. Get this. Florida International had 34 minutes and 17 seconds of possession to Penn State's 25-43. FIU 34-17 to Penn State's 25-43. That's significant. And yeah, the game got lopsided in the second half, but it was not lopsided in the first half. 34-17 to 25-43. If FAU gets ding time of possession like that, that's going to be a problem for Zach Kitley and company. FIU cannot have the ball for almost plus 9 minutes against Florida Atlantic, or it's going to be tough sledding for FAU. Now, for those of you that are fretting, for those of you that are nervous because FIU played with Penn State. That's right, played with Penn State, at least for 30 minutes on Saturday in State College. If you're worried about that and how it's going to translate into this game, it might not translate into this game at all. If you recall, last year, before the Shula Bowl, a game that FAU won by 18 points, but that didn't begin to tell the story of the dominance of Florida Atlantic. FIU had come off of absolutely blasting Central Michigan 52-16 the week before, and none of that mattered the subsequent week in the Shula Bowl when FIU went to Boca Raton last year. Last year, FIU scored 3 plays in on that aforementioned Keon Jenkins touchdown pass. FAU ended up punting 4 straight times then in that first quarter. FIU then missed a field goal in that stretch before Florida Atlantic was able to find its footing. Late in the first quarter, FIU fumbled at their own 11. FAU a touchdown 3 plays later from Zuberi Mobley, and then Mobley in the second quarter added a 72-yard touchdown run. By the way, just of note, FIU had they gave up a 67-yard touchdown run at Penn State. So that might come into play. Jamari Sands, who was able to ding at FAMU a bit, maybe he finds a hole and he hits FIU again for a big scoring gain like Mobley did last year and like Penn State did last week. And then Keon Jenkins started throwing the ball to FAU defenders a lot. In fact, back-to-back possessions, Keon Jenkins, interception. Then FIU fumbled on the next possession. In that stretch, FAU got 10 points in that sequence, eventually went up 38-7 and won 38-20. One quick note on the Shula Bowl this time around. There are only 9 current FAU players that showed up on the stat sheet last year against FIU that are still on this Florida Atlantic roster. Only 9 players who showed up on last year's Shula Bowl stat sheet that are still on the team. That's wide receiver Joseph Young, wide receiver Jay Sean Platt, linebacker Lawrence Johnson, safety Wendell Fullord, defensive lineman Gavin Marcelin, defensive back Cameron Goggins, D lineman Bryce Langston, kick returner last year Jamari Sands, now FAU starting running back, and punter Logan Lupo. So a lot of turnover. A lot of turnover. Robbie Lastella, our designated numbers guy here on the Florida Atlantic Voice in the chat. Chaney is a big threat on the outside. Chaney Jr. is a big threat. He'd be a premier edge in the American, let alone CUSA. So someone that you're going to have to really pay attention to. This front line, Johnny Chaney Jr. is who Robbie is referencing. They can really get after the quarterback. He's a native of Apopka. Shout out Trey Hendrickson. That's his hometown as well. Was previously at Colorado like FAU's Assad Wasim. But Chaney is Chaney's really strong on the edge. And great point there by Robbie. FAU is really going to have to pay attention to him. Just a couple quick notes here remaining. Willie Simmons has no problem. He's not shy about making grand proclamations. 2 quotes I want you to focus on, and 2 quotes I'm sure that Zach Kitley has presented to his football team already. First of all, last week, Post-game press conference. Willie Simmons after the 34-0 loss to Penn State. This is an exact quote verbatim from Willie Simmons, first-year head coach, Florida International, formerly at FAMU, where he won a Celebration Bowl with the Rattlers. Quote, I thought for the first half that we showed everybody that when we play the right way, we can play with any team in America. End quote. Willie Simmons. Coach, I appreciate the confidence, but come on. FIU cannot play with every team in America, any team in America. You played to within 10 of Penn State in the first half. Congratulations. You wouldn't do that against Ohio State if you got a shot against them. You wouldn't do it against Penn State again if you had another game against them. You wouldn't do it against Illinois. We'll just stick to Big Ten teams. I mean, God help you if we start listing SEC teams, okay? Or even Miami in the ACC, all right? So I just think that's a bit hyperbolic. And then there's this. This is the key one. Willie Simmons, introductory press conference when he took the job at Florida International. Willie Simmons, quote, we have a goal to beat that little school just up the road down there in Boca every single year. That, again, a verbatim quote from Willie Simmons. We have a goal to beat that little school up there in Boca, Florida Atlantic. Just remember that. Just remember that if Florida Atlantic is hoisting that trophy on Saturday night, okay? And here's the hope. Florida Atlantic is going to make Willie Simmons absolutely eat his words, okay? Absolutely eat his words. And he also added, by the way, that the goal is every single year. Underline that. Every single year. Just for contextual purposes, FIU did not play Western Kentucky last year, so that means Caden Velkamp, Easton Messer did not go against Florida International, and that is your Shula Bowl preview here from Biergarten and Boca Raton. Florida Atlantic Voice, Monday Night Live, presented by Robes Law Group. Shula Bowl, Saturday, 6 p.m., Pitbull Stadium. 5:30 pregame. Mike Mareshko has it. Myself and Chris Newbold at 6 o'clock. Have your radio call on the Florida Atlantic Sports Network. Bathe that place in red like you always do. Go to the FIU ticket website. I have the link on my Twitter account at KOV Says. Get down there, wear red, be loud, outnumber FIU fans by the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds like you've done for the past 12, 13, 14, 15 years. It is the Shula Bowl, Saturday, 6 p.m. FAU looking to retain the Shula Bowl trophy. Want to thank Biergarten and Boca Raton, the premier soccer bar in Boca. Inter Miami, Bayern Munich, always on the TVs at Biergarten. Oktoberfest coming up. October 11th is Beer Fest 2025. The Porsche Car Show is October 4th, sampling from German and local breweries. They start at noon, and NFL Sundays right here at Biergarten and Boca Raton, including Monday Night Football. All right, Florida Atlantic Voice, Monday Night Live, that is a wrap. This will be in full on the Florida Atlantic Voice podcast, wherever you get your podcast. It goes up Wednesday. Subscribe, please. Subscribe to the Florida Atlantic Voice podcast. Support me. Support Florida Atlantic. Support Robes Law Group. And make sure to come out every Monday. Biergarten and Boca Raton. Monday, 6 o'clock. I'm here. First beer on me. That is a Ken LaVicka, voice of FAU guarantee. All right. We'll talk to you Saturday from West Miami. This has been the Florida Atlantic Voice, Monday Night Live, presented by Robes Law Group, personal injury lawyers from Biergarten and Boca Raton. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.